Okay, tonight we'll do the Sanskrit. So we're on an expedited schedule tonight. We're leaving half hour early so everyone can go take rest. This is page number 298. Bhagavad Gita as it is, Raja Vidya. Can you bump it up? Put it up a little higher? I don't see the remote control for it, do you? Really? Okay, here we are. The most confidential knowledge. I think the chair has a tilt to it, by the way. Unless the floor is going this way. It's okay for now. I'm just saying whoever put it together recently. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Tute Kuyatamam Prabhakshyam Yanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajgyatva Mokshashe Shubha Raja Vijay Raja Kuyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartam Avyayam Ashadadana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapyamam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani Maya Tatamidang Sarvam Jagadavyakta Murtina Mastani Sarva Bhutani Nachaham Teshvavastidha Nachamatstani Bhutani Pashyame Yogamaishvaram Bhuta Brinnacha Bhutasto Mahatma Bhuta Bhavana Yata Kashastito Nityam Vayu Sarvatra Gomahan Tata Sarvani Bhutani Matstani Tyupadaraya Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshayi Punastani Kalpadau Visrajamyaham Prakritim Swamavashtabhya Visrajami Punah Punah Bhutagramam Imam Kritsnam Avasham Prakriter Vashad Nachamam Tani Karmani Nibaddanti Dhananjaya Udasina Vadasinam Asaktam Teshu Karmasu Vayadyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagad Viparivartate Avajananti Mam Buddha Manushim Tanum Ashritam Parambhavam Ajananto Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram Moksha Mukha Karmano Moga Jnana Vichetasaha Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva Prakritim Mohinim Shrita Mahatmanas Tumam Partha Daivim Prakritim Ashrita Bhajantyananyam Manaso Gyatva Bhutatim Avyayam Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dradavrata Namasyantascha Bhutya Nitya Yukta Upasate Jnana Yagnena Chapyanye Yajanto Mam Upasate Ekatvena Pritatvena Bahuda Vishvato Mukham Aham Kraturaham Yagna Swadaham Ham Aushadam Mantroham Ahame Bhajyam Aham Agnir Aham Hutam Pitaham Asya Jagato Mata Tata Pitamaha Vejam Pavitra Mumkara Riksamaya Jurevacha Gatir Bharta Prabhu Shakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit Prabhavak Pralayastanam Nidanam Bijamavyayam Tapam Yaham Maham Varsham Nigranam Yutsrijami Cha Amritam Chaiva Mrityuscha Sarasatcha Humarjuna Traividyaman Soma Paputa Papa Jagner Ishva Swargatim Prartaryante Te Punyamasadya Surendra Lokam Ashnanti Divyan Divideva Bhogan Te Tam Bhuktva Swarga Lokam Vishalam Shinye Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti Evam Trai Dharma Manu Prapanna Gata Gata Kama Kama Labhante Ananyash Chintayonto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabda Yuktanam Yogakshemam Baham Yaham Ye Pyanya Devata Bhakta Yajante Shraddhayan Vita Te Imameva Kaunteya Yajante Viti Purvakam Aham Hi Sarva Yagnanam Bhokta Cha Prabhureva Cha Natumam Abhijananti Tatvena Tashtyavanti Te Yanti Deva Vrata Devam Pitrin Yanti Pratirvrata Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja Yanti Madhya Jino Bivam Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prayachati Taraham Bhakti Paritam Ashnami Pariyatatmana Yat Kadoshi Adashnasi Yat Juhoshi Dadasi Yat Tapasyasi Kaunteya Tat Kurushva Madarpanam Shubha Shubha Palerevam Mokshyase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mamupaishyasi Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu Nami Dvaishosti Napriyaha Ye Bhujanti Tumam Bhaktya Maite Teshu Chapyaham Apichet Sudaracharo Bhajate Mamananya Bhak Satureva Samantavya Samyak Vyavasito Hisa Shripram Bhavati Dharmatma Shashvach Chantim Negashyati Kaunteya Pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranashyati Mamhi Partabhya Pashritya Yepi Syu Papayonaya Striyo Vaishas Tata Shudras Kepi Yanti Param Gatim Kim Puna Brahmana Punya Bhaktadajar Shayastata Anityam Asukam Lokam Imam Prapya Prajasvamam Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mami Vaishyasi Yutvaivam Atmanam Parayana Om Tat Sariti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambade Raja Kuhya Yogo Nama Navamodhaya Hari Om. Keshavaradi. Pick. 30? I'm 30. It's a popular pick. And a wise choice. Okay. Mhm. This is 9:30. Apiche Sudaracharo. What do you think of the gain on this? What is your opinion? Let's take a vote. Those who think it's a little too high. 1, 2, we need a quorum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those who have no opinion whatsoever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those who think it's perfect. Okay, the gain's too high. Thank you. Apichet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananyapak sadureva samantavya samyag vyavasato hisa. Api, even, maybe just a little higher. Thank you. Api, even, che, if, sudarachara, one committing the most abominable actions, bhajate, is engaged in devotional service, mam, unto me, ananya bhak, without deviation, sadhu, a saint, eva, certainly, sa, he, mantavya, is to be considered, samyak, completely, vyavasita, situated in determination, he, certainly, sa, he. Seem to recall that in the 17th mantra of the Sri Upanishad, this verse may be quoted in the purport, maybe a page and a half before the purport finishes. Can you just check? There's a context there, it would be nice to hear. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Now, how's the temperature in here? Have we done whatever we need to do to make it? Would you like the windows more open? We tried it last night. That seemed to have helped a little bit. Let's try on the sides. It's hot outside? My theory is that with the side windows open, as it cools down, as the earth cools, the cool air will come in. Okay, here we go. Ready? Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Purport. The word sudarachara used in this verse is very significant, and we should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for the devotees, in connection with the conditional life, and such activities are called conditional. Besides these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or the devotional service of the Lord has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position, and they are technically called devotional service. Now, in the conditioned state, sometimes devotional service and the conditional service in relation to the body will parallel one another. But then, again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He knows that perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially or politically. But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down, but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always a success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path. For, as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course, as soon as a devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. The words sadhu eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are a warning to the non-devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic. If one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. And then in the Shringa Purana, the following statement is given. Bhagavati cha harav anyanya cheta vrisha malino pi virajate manusha nahi shasha kalusha shadbi kadachit chimira parabhavatam upaiti chandra. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs, as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee. And now we'll take some reflections or questions. Okay? Did you find it?
Yeah.
May I?
Yes.
Does it have a different context?
It's mentioned before 9:30 to, and then it's the translation, and then I add something from Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Okay. From the Sri Upanishad, Mantra 17, the Lord clearly describes his intimate relationship with his devotees in the Bhagavad Gita 9.30 through 34. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace, O son of Kunti. Declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains these verses in this way, quote, one should regard a devotee of Krishna to be on the right path of the saints, even though such a devotee may seem to be a Sudurachara, a person of loose character. One should try to understand the real purport of the word Sudurachara. A conditioned soul has to act for double functions, namely for the maintenance of the body and again for self-realization. Social status, mental development, cleanliness, austerity, nourishment, and the struggle for existence are all for the maintenance of the body. The self-realization part of one's activities is executed in one's occupation as a devotee of the Lord, and one performs actions in that connection also. One must perform these two different functions along parallel lines because a conditioned soul cannot give up the maintenance of his body. The proportion of activities for maintenance of the body decreases, however, in proportion to the increase in devotional service. As long as the proportion of devotional service does not come to the right point, there is a chance for an occasional exhibition of worldliness. But it should be noted that such worldliness cannot continue for long, because by the grace of the Lord, such imperfections will come to an end very shortly. Therefore, the path of devotional service is the only right path. If one is on the right path, even an occasional occurrence of worldliness does not hamper one in the advancement of self-realization. Thank you. And before you ask your question, Vaikuntha Nayak Prabhu, I just ask that Vishnu Gadar Prabhu, could you also give the same citation that you gave the other day? The way that Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, please. Just fleshing out the idea of the verse itself.
So in the Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhava, there's a section of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's relationship with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his father, but also his spiritual preceptor. And there, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said he had a dream where the demigods were debating the meaning of this verse and the next verse, that apichet suduracharo, and then such a person, they quickly become righteous. And they were saying, the demigods were wondering, how is it, what we thought somebody who's engaged in devotional service, naturally they're going to be righteous. That's part of devotional service. So they were wondering about that, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur comes in, and they ask him the question, and he said in response, not only the devotee becomes righteous, but the person who considers, even in spite of their bad activity, since they're engaged in devotional service, they're saintly, even that person also becomes righteous. Both of those people become righteous. And so then all the demigods in the dream, they offered obeisances to Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Okay. Vijay Govind took initiation this morning in the mantra, Diksha. Hare Krishna. It was secret. We had to do it in a cowshed. Okay, Vaikuntha Nayak.
There was a statement which Gaurang Darshan Prabhu said I'm just paraphrasing it, which I thought is very appropriate for this shloka. He mentioned that if a person has dirt all over his body, but he is under a shower, you do not criticize him for being dirty.
Right. That's one we heard from early on also. I think it was from Prabhupada gave that as well. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Paramakaruna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So this verse is of course very, very important to understand. So I have two questions if you may choose to answer or
Okay.
discuss. So the first one is that the focus of this verse seems to be that one finds, and that word verbiage is found in Srila Prabhupada's purport, that one finds a devotee to be accidentally fallen or committing abominable activities, etc. But what I was thinking is that it's somebody else who is finding some fault or some abominable action in the other devotee. So that itself, like, how do we, should one should not be doing that in the first place as a devotee to see fault in their activities. And then on the other hand, how is one to, so that's one level that one should not judge. And in the next level, how should one judge that yes, he is engaged in devotional service, and therefore one should consider him to be a sadhu. So there's a lot of judgment here on the part, and then therefore he should consider him to be a sadhureva samantavya. So I was just thinking that how do we know that he is fixed in devotional service, and therefore this verse is to be applied? Maybe, I feel it's easy to fake devotional externally to the untrained eye and so on. So that's one question I've had for a long time on this verse. How should we judge somebody's abominable actions, or how much abominable, and then how much devotional service determined he is, to give him this label of sadhu? Who are we to give any kind of label?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, thank you for bringing the very practical aspect of this into question. There's a case study of temple president in New York City, Henry Street, circa 1971, 1973, when temple president got married to a woman who said she was the heiress to the Toyota fortune, and she wasn't. She was a liar. She said she was. And her husband was, although a leader in the movement and highly respected, he was influenced quite a bit by her. She was tyrannical, actually. And there was quite a bit of confusion because devotees naturally try not to find faults, especially in a leader. And around that time also, there was more of a sense of devotees not having faults at all. So devotees in general were more susceptible to somebody who was covering up something. And minus a lot of the details, as His Holiness Rampat Maharaj would say, minus the details, there's a way in which there was quite a bit of confusion in the devotional community, especially in New York City, because strange things were happening, and apparent transgressions of the rules of deity worship and other kinds of things were taking place. And there were some devotees that were reluctant to report this, and then there were some that did rally and report it. They escalated to the only person anybody could at that time, practically, for an ultimate judgment, and that was Prabhupada. And we can get a little more information from Vishnu Prabhu because he was there at that time in New York City. My recollection of Prabhupada's analysis of the situation in retrospect was that he didn't fault the devotees very heavily who didn't report him, and he also appreciated the ones that did bring it up. Is that correct? I mean, that's my recollection of reading the letters afterwards that Prabhupada wrote. Yeah? Would you like to say more to build context?
He sent Tamal Krishna Maharaj to investigate when the complaints came. And shortly thereafter, he did write a letter, which as you mentioned, he said for the regular devotees that following, there's no problem. But he indicated that the older or senior devotees, he was encouraging them to bring stuff forward. That was his expectation, which was quite interesting at the time because many didn't, and to address the problem.
Yeah, thank you. And so, devotees in different positions may have more responsibility to notice such things for the good of all involved. And it's always helpful to have a way to process these things in mind. In our community in ISV, there was once some kind of a conflict that happened between a couple of devotees, and it's hard to sort out, and sometimes these things are difficult to sort out. And I invited Braja Bihari to come to ISV to hold a seminar, which he did for 2 or 3 days, to talk about the whole community, and he coached everybody to come up with a plan for how the devotees would process any anomalies they saw, or if there were conflicts. This is especially about conflict, but it would apply to the scenario where there seems to be something amiss. And that had to do with not rumor mongering, but going to an authority or a senior devotee and bringing it up in a context where I've seen this or I've heard it, and therefore I want to mention it, so I'm doing my due diligence. And then, as Prabhupada did, there's some investigation so that it can be looked into. So, yes, it's not our nature to find fault, but it's also important that if there is some transgression, for instance, Rupa Goswami gives the verse Shruti Smriti Paranadi Panchachiki Vidambina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktiru Patayaiva Kalpate, which means that devotional service that doesn't follow the Shastra, Shruti Smriti, Panchratrik Vidhi, and so forth, becomes a disturbance to the whole devotional society. To a whole community, it can become a disturbance. And therefore, it's not that if somebody acts incorrectly or does something wrong, that this verse is saying just look the other way. But there is a way in which we should do our due diligence, individually or as a group, to deal with it in such a way that we deal with the problem, especially if somebody has abused somebody else or is bullying somebody else, victimized other people, and it's not just a private transgression. That should be dealt with forthwith, so that others don't get harmed. And it can also, it can be dealt with in such a way that is responsible. And so there may be cases of people taking things into their own hands and not processing it in such a way that it's helpful. Maybe it inflames the situation. That could happen. For instance, somebody could speculate and just take to social media, which seems to be a knee-jerk reaction, and then amplify it so that the person would become instantly defamed overnight. There may be there are more responsible ways to deal with it. So deal with it we must, and it's not saying don't do your due diligence if something is there. And if there's a question about it, we can ask questions in such a way that it's non-critical or condescending. For instance, there's a theory called nonviolent communication, in which when you see something or you experience something from somebody that is disturbing, you can bring it up in a way that you don't judge their intention. You just point out that this happened. For instance, an example is given somebody, maybe you have a roommate, even here, who comes in late, slams the door, and wakes you up, turns on all the lights, and then you turn over and like, who is this person? And instead of saying, you must really hate me, you're trying to do this to me, that's an interpretation of somebody's intention. The theory of nonviolent communication, otherwise known as NVC, says that you would bring it up in such a way as not to judge the intention. For instance, when you've come in the last 2 nights, although I realize it wasn't your intention, or perhaps it wasn't your intention, better to say it wasn't, maybe. What happened was you turned on the lights, and I was just falling asleep, you slammed the door, and that sort of woke me up. And although you probably weren't aware of it, it wasn't your intention, this is what happened when you did it. It woke me up. It was hard for me to go back to sleep. So my request is when you come in, if you could, I'll leave one light on in the closet so you have a little light. And when you come in, if you could close the door quietly next time and not turn on all the main lights. Point was, there's a difference between A and B, and there is a way to deal with transgressions and sticky situations, which you objectify them and you take a look at it without getting emotionally involved at first, so that you can analyze the situation and find out what's really going on. Hope that wasn't too detailed, but my point is that humans are complicated creatures, and when you put them together, then that becomes exponential, the complication. And therefore it requires some forethought of how to deal with situations like that. I've found personally that it's helpful to be direct and honest, and to bring things up in a non-challenging way so that you can find out what's really going on. Sometimes when people are having trouble, it's a call for help, and they do need somebody to notice it. So a couple things. One is that, as Prabhupada noted, it wasn't their business to jump in because they were rank and file, and what do they know what's going on anyway, perhaps. And then there are others who have more responsibility, and that's what leadership or management means often, is that you have to be aware of such things. In fact, Prabhupada said one should be trained to spot offenses. Of course, it really means to spot offenses in one's own practice and to rectify them. But managers also have to look for it in other people. And the first assumption shouldn't mean that they meant to do it, but they should be rectified. But it can be done in a way that is not traumatizing to the person. Would you like to ask another question to follow up?
Yes, Maharaj, if
Yes,
you
go ahead.
permit. I think you detected that I had a. So
Well, it's a
thank you.
complicated issue. Go ahead.
Yes, Maharaj. So I fully agree, Maharaj, when there are lines of authority like guru or management or parent, there are these 5 kinds of gurus. We can definitely escalate to them. So that point is well taken. And in our institution, that's the advantage of having a institutional setup. And also you brought up very nicely about the nonviolent communication aspect when there is an opportunity to communicate. So that's well understood. If you could comment on also this aspect of bhajate maam ananyabhaka, how do we judge, like whether he's fixed in devotional service or not? I think that was also part of the verse, or that's also part of my struggle, because it is asking, this verse is asking that us to judge.
Well,
There's an if condition seems to be there. If please correct me
sure.
if I'm wrong.
Okay, a couple points. One is,
Or should we not at all?
no, we should judge because we have an interest in associating with those who are more advanced. So if somebody's scale is tipping towards worldliness, we can appreciate them as a devotee, as we hear in Krishneti Yasya Giritam Manasadreta. If anyone just says Hare Krishna. Like my older brother just wrote me a text, and at the end he put Krishna Krishna. I was like, all right. But then we should be able to understand who we're dealing with, at what level, because Rupa Goswami says, Krishneti Yasya Giritam Manasadriyeta. Manasadriyeta means that in your mind you should appreciate them if they say Krishna Krishna at the end of their text. Something's going on there. And then he says, Dikshasti Chet Pranitibishcha Pajantamisham. If they've taken initiation, Diksha, they've made a vow to chant, then you should really respect them deeply, to go out of your way to bow down. And then Nindadi Shunya, Hridamipsita Sangalabhya. If you find somebody who's become spiritually advanced, and the symptom given here is one that Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, how do they speak? And of course he says Nindadi Shunya. They're Shunya from Ninda. They have no urge to criticize others perniciously. And so then a reference from the Bhagavatam, from a verse that Srila Ishvara Puri gave to his disciple Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after he had taken initiation, and Mahaprabhu had come back asking if he had received the right mantra, because he said, when I chant this mantra, tears come to my eyes, my hair stands on end, next thing I'm rolling on the ground. And his spiritual master then quoted, Evam vrata swapriya namakirta, jatan rago chuta, druta chitta uchai, asatyato rotiti rauti gayati unmadamam ritati lokabhayaha. Verse from the Bhagavatam that says that a person who's advanced in devotional service oftentimes shows these symptoms where they don't care for outsiders and they show bodily symptoms. And in the extensive commentary or variety of commentaries in that verse, one by Madhvacharya says that he quotes from Shastra and he says, there's only 2 ways you can judge the advancement of a devotee. By the devotee's steadiness and by speech. And he says, of course, steadiness you can't fake, because you either show up or you don't. And speech is hard to hold back anyway. He had nothing to say, and then he said it. And so there's a way in which he says, he calls the person whose heart has become purified, the words that he or she speaks is called mukhya prasadad, which means a veritable prasad that comes from their voice, because their heart is pure like that. And so there are objective ways to understand who's advanced. And in fact, in the verse number 5 from the Upadeshamrita Krishneti Yasya Giritam, Prabhupada does a similar analysis, and he talks about the different levels of devotees in his purport. And he mentions in similar terms the Uttama Adhikari as one who's become very steady in following the process that's been given by the Acharya and who preaches Krishna consciousness. So we should have some sense of calibration when it comes to who's advanced. They show up, and you can tell from the way they speak, and also, as it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the effect they have on others. And yeah, so that's there. That we should notice that, and Rupa Goswami says we should gravitate towards those who are more advanced, and of course we should offer help to those who aren't as advanced. So that's okay. But the point here is that one should know that if somebody's sincere, that even though they make a transgression, then they can become purified. It doesn't become a non-starter for the rest of their lives for their devotional service, and therefore there's a sense Krishna is giving here that if the person, and this is another way of understanding it, is sincerely trying to rectify him or herself. For instance, if in Bengal, in rural culture, probably in bygone ages, when somebody did something that was horrible, they would put straw in their teeth, and then they would go door to door to every house in the village. And the reason they put straw in their teeth is so they couldn't say anything. In other words, they couldn't make any excuses. They'd go there and they'd bow down to everyone to get forgiveness. But because there's straw in their teeth, that would indicate that I'm not going to try to defend myself. I'm just coming here to beg for forgiveness. I'm not saying everyone has to do that. You can try it. But the point is that the person's not trying to what is it? Justify and say, oh yeah, it wasn't my fault. Somebody else made me do it, or something like that. Then, if somebody owns the problem and is sorry about it and sincerely trying to rectify him or herself, then we should know that the person should be given the benefit of the doubt. And how do you discern that? Well, Krishna's at everyone's heart. If we're sincere also, we try to understand other devotees and give them the benefit of the doubt as much as possible. Then that's in line with what Krishna is saying here. There may be institutional steps that have to be taken for certain transgressions, because that's another conundrum. How do we deal as a community or a society with certain kinds of things that happen? And sometimes the two can be mutually exclusive. There may be some kind of institutional steps that are taken, and meanwhile there should be compassion and help for such a person who is rectifying him or herself from a mistake. Boy, is that long-winded. But I think it requires some explication, because it's not just a straightforward point. And I think that's what your questions brought up, which is very helpful. And I hope there was a semblance of an answer in that is satisfying. Okay, we have two more, and then we're going to reflections, because tonight's an early night. You get to go home early. I didn't want to shortchange anybody, but at the same time, we're leaving early tomorrow morning. And I really want to leave on time because, as early as possible, because I have to leave early tomorrow to attend a meeting, and I don't want to miss anything. Anyway,
Krishna Guru Maharaj,
yes.
I got the mic.
Okay.
I just want to belabor this point a little bit more. When Srila Prabhupada uses the word abominable, it almost sounds too strong, in the sense that maybe I could say, well, at least my act wasn't abominable. So do we know why he chose that particular term, and how we would rate our activities against that?
It's parallel with the Sanskrit. Su is an intensifier to duracharo. Duracharo is bad enough. Dur means bad, and a duracharo means somebody who really did something bad. But if you put su on the front, then it means abominable. So that's why he uses the word. Ashwatthama killed 4 sleeping sons of the Pandavas, and that's pretty abominable. But he's going to be rectified. He'll be the next Vyasa in Satya Yuga. In fact, he's still wandering around somewhere. And if he can be rectified, anybody can. In due course of time and mercy. And the person's attitude also, because that's really important. Maybe I mentioned this in Puri, but I did or maybe I even said it here. I did a seminar for my own purification called Anatomy of a Fall Down. And it was the most well-attended Wednesday night Bhagavad Gita class I'd ever seen. And then I gave the seminar later, and I called it How to Make a Comeback. And not as many people came. But still, there are ways to think about this, because, as Prabhupada points out in the Light of the Bhagavat, in text number 54, that missteps may not be detrimental. They may become the pillars to success. Because if somebody's sincere and has a misstep, they take it to heart. They have a sense of how powerful the material energy is, and they're very careful. And they know that they're not above the law, and then they can slip at any time. It makes them very, very serious. It's one of the aspects of that. And I did mention also another case study. One of my godbrothers who joined the movement in 1970 and took initiation, and then was able to meet with Prabhupada privately and tell him that he was having a hard time following the 4 regulative principles. And Prabhupada said to him, one day you will walk. And he said a child, when he's learning to walk, sometimes gets up and then slips and falls down. But over the course of trying, he learns how to walk. Then he can walk on his own 2 feet. And even more than the specific analogy Prabhupada gave, which was powerful enough in and of itself, what was even more penetrating and helpful for this devotee was Prabhupada's mood. It wasn't that he said, well, then get out of my sight. You might as well jump off a bridge, or any of those things. He said, one day you will walk. And that's the mood of Krishna, is you slipped. Well, that's to be expected, because we're ensconced in the material energy, and it's not so easy to get to the point where you don't wobble. We could maybe tip over. But if you're sincere, you will get to that point. Otherwise, what's the point of the whole process anyway? Okay. Did somebody have their hand up before that? And then we'll come right back to you because we had an infield fly rule. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I was just thinking that since in the situation like this, when you see something happening like that, and since we as devotees, we are supposed to be compassionate, especially when you see a devotee who is probably younger than you, and you just probably walk up to him and say that, okay, this is what I noticed. I know that what is kind of visible is not what actually might be true, or do you need some help? Is that maybe a right approach to, especially if it's a devotee younger in age than us?
Yeah, and in the community, of course, it's helpful to note that person's working under. When young people come into a community and there's a concerted effort to help such people to learn how to walk, it's good to defer to the ones who have been delegated to specifically watch out for them. Because oftentimes we find in devotional community, and I was just mentioning this on the way home because, of course, when old God brothers and friends get together, we do talk about the old days. And I just remember when I walked in the temple, everybody gave me free advice about everything. Don't touch that, get off that, when should you wash it? Would you? Would you? Right, Vishnugada? Yeah. And so at some point we had a system, we had a very organized process in various places. One was in New York where Vishnugada Prabhu and I were stationed together for some time. And the Bhakti program was completely separate from everybody else. In fact, we were prohibited from talking to the new people. Only the Bhakti leader and his assistants. Bhakti leader was Urjaswat Prabhu, who was masterful at taking care of new people. In fact, he had one whole floor. We had, 13 stories? 12-story building we had, and he had one whole story. And there, it was the most lush of all the floors. I remember I used to go there on my day off and But the point was he would take care of it. When they'd all come to Mangalartik, practically he herd them in. And like with sheepdogs, they protect the herd. And it's like, don't look at them, don't even talk to them. Because there's a way in which like everyone's so helpful that it can really confuse new people. So that's a thing also, to be aware of who's taking care of whom, and then having some protocol, because that helps in an organization like ours also. Nicola.
Thank you, Maharaj. So in the purport it says, devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs as previously explained. It sounds like that strength required to not fall down is proportionate to the strength of our devotional service. Is that always the case? And if not, like, how do we make sure that we're protecting our strength so that we don't become subject to a fall down?
Chant good rounds and never consider yourself liberated. And this is one of the hallmarks of an advanced person. It's part of the seminar, and I gave citations to back it up. In fact, if you look at Prahlad Maharaj, who's considered to be an eternally liberated soul, and he says in his prayers, does he not? Trastos meham kripana vatsaladussaho grasamsara chakra karanad grasatam pranita vadhasa karma virushatama tengri mulam pritopavarga sharanam hoyase kadanu. And there he's saying that everyone else is afraid of you. In fact, that's why he got in that position, because the demigods were so afraid of Nrsingadev, including Lakshmi, his wife, who thought, "Is this really my husband? I've never seen him like this." And Brahma pushed Prahlad and said, "Here, you talk to him." And Prahlad said, "I'm not afraid of you, like everybody else is. What I'm afraid of is your Vishnu Maya. I don't want to fall back down again." And there is a story, I don't know, of course we have stories, some of them are apocryphal, but there's a way in which it said Prabhupada was praying before the deities, and a devotee asked later what he was praying, and Prabhupada replied that he was praying that he wouldn't fall down. The devotee then replied, "Well, you can't fall down, you're a pure devotee." And Prabhupada said the reason a pure devotee doesn't fall down is because he or she is always praying to please protect me, and is aware that Maya is stronger than me. In fact, one of the ways in which we invite Maya into our house or into our heart is by being lax and thinking that, well, that's for other people. This idea of entitlement. Well, I've been around for a long time. I don't have to do that. Why should I do that? Let other people do it, and I'm already liberated. Don't think you're liberated. That's strength. To always take shelter of Krishna and think that I could fall at any minute. I'm the weakest I'm the runt of the litter, and I'm in more need of help than anybody else. That's strength. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya said, "Trinadapi sunichena, tororapi suhishnuna, amanina amanadena, kirtaniya sadahari." If you want to keep chanting and put together one whole lifetime of devotional service from pillar to post, as they say here in India, that you have to be really humble and don't be entitled. And then don't justify. If you make a mistake, own it and say, "I'm a fool." Because you could say that anyway. Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master told him that. He said, "You're a fool." And Mahaprabhu told that to Prakashananda Saraswati. He said, "My spiritual master told me I'm a fool," because they asked him, "Why don't you study the Vedanta Sutra?" He said, "My spiritual master told me I'm a fool. I'm a fool. So I just follow what he said. I chant Hare Krishna." And these are signs of strength, of being willing to own the problem and admit that I have a problem. If you don't admit it, then you can't get over it. You have to say that I made a mistake. And then Prabhupada gives the formula in the next verse, which has been alluded to in both these purports, because they go together. Shripram bhavati dharmatma shashvashantim nagachati kaunteya pratijanihi nami bhakti pranashati. Krishna tells Arjuna, "Tell everybody, my devotee is never vanquished." You say it, Arjuna, because people might not believe me, because sometimes I'll shade things a little bit to benefit my devotee, but if you say it, everyone will believe it. And in the purport, Prabhupada says the formula is to chant Hare Krishna without stoppage. So it means to go on with one's practice of devotional service, and then one will be rectified. Did I answer your question? Really? Okay. Okay, one more, and then we have reflection time, because we missed it last night, and we're ending at 6:30 tonight. Okay, 1, 2, and that's it.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, in this verse we read, even abominable actions we should consider saintly. And in Bhagavatam we also see the stories a lot where someone has done the actions, may not be that rating of abominable, like poor Kumaras went to Jain Vijay and how they got cursed, even they didn't let it go. Nalkuvera, where Narad Muni gave the so of course the audience is different for different messages, but how we consider all together concile, like just looking at this one verse is feel like, yeah, someone like we should give the time to rectify them, as you mentioned, and then really consider the saintly persons as saintly. But same time we see other stories where they have done the offense and really went through tough time in their later in the lifetimes, right? So that how we reconcile both together in a way like which is related or is not related at all, first of all.
What was the last?
Is this both messages are related or not related?
Everybody's an individual. We're all individual cases. It's not stereotype. And as we read in 10:14:8, Krishna knows the inner workings of every person and every devotee. And therefore, when he makes some arrangement, it's based specifically on that person's relationship with him and that person's existential situation. And he gives a custom-made situation for every single person. So that's one general principle. And the more important principle to remember is Krishna's suhrit. He has our best interest in mind. Not only is he all-powerful, but also he's all-merciful. And he has a special appreciation for every living entity. And we read recently that in the verse Samaham Sarvabhuteshu, that it was in the verse I just mentioned, which is Tatenu Kampam Susumikshamano, that if you're going to approach the sun, you also have to be fire-like. And therefore, this purification that takes place, the hard times, rough times, is not a detriment. It's actually what purifies us. So when we see somebody go through something that is extremely trying and they're sincere, it is an opportunity for them to come to a much higher level. Therefore, it's not an obstacle, but it's an opportunity. I know that sounds like self-help, but that's what it is. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj.
And then if we can have the reflect. Oh, there's Shraddha. Okay, thanks. Please go ahead.
This morning you were talking about the wild elephant offense. I was thinking when we find ourselves criticizing others in our mind, what is a practical way of overcoming that?
One way is to distance yourself a little more and just appreciate anything about them that you can. Because some people don't match. It's not that we have to intimately associate with every devotee. In fact, it's mentioned in relationship with the verse Ishvare Tadadineshu Balisheshu Dusatsucha, which is really about preaching to outsiders, but our acharyas in that extensive purport have also said that it can relate also to the fact that we should associate with those who are swakiya, or are like-minded. We should hopefully associate with those who are more advanced than us and who are like-minded. And that's okay. It's not sectarian. Or it is sectarian, but there's nothing wrong with being sectarian, actually, because we're all individuals. And so it could be really helpful to try to appreciate whatever you can about the person, or from a more generalized point of view. Krishna said, well, at least they're a devotee, right? In other words, if you're in your mind criticizing somebody, and if it's not something that you can work out, because that's the other option, is to, as I said earlier, I prefer oftentimes to be straightforward with people if there's really a conflict, and try to talk to them as directly as possible, to arrange a time to have a conversation through which I can reveal my mind in as nonviolent a way as possible. For instance, I was recently, I'll just give you an example, personal example. I'm going to be vulnerable here. There were some new arrangements for management in Northern California, North America, new management structure. And I once heard nobody likes change but a wet baby. And I was feeling threatened by it, the new management structure. I was feeling uneasy about the whole thing, and I started developing a sense of resentment. And I said, I can't live with this. So I deliberately got on a plane and flew to the next Temple Presidents meeting, even though I didn't have time because I had to leave right after that to go to whatever yatra we were going to next. And I deliberately made appointments to meet with each one of the ones that I thought or didn't think they were irking me. And I wanted to talk to them directly so that I could clear the air. And I did. And I felt so light afterwards. And as it turned out, as usual, they didn't have it in for me. It's just circumstantial. And so I always find that it's helpful to try to sort things out as much as possible personally and take responsibility for it if there's somebody really bugging you, if there's a way that you can try to work it out. I've even done this, what's it called? What's that group? Roger Bihari? Resolve. They answer the phone. ISKCON Resolve, get over it. And actually, I did one of those. Actually, I've done a few, but it wasn't because I had a problem per se. I got chosen to be on one of the sides. And I've seen resolutions. In fact, I was chosen for one. There was 3 on each side. It was a person who was a leader in ISKCON and then was sort of outside of ISKCON. Not sort of. They were really out. And they were critical, and they were trying to mend some fences. So I got chosen as part of a panel to be on one side. And I mean, I didn't sign up for it. I just got chosen. So I went there, and we had a few days of mediation, back and forth and so forth. And you know where the fences were mostly mended? Over Prasadam. Because during Prasadam time, it was almost like Kurukshetra. You know the stories of Kurukshetra, and was fighting, and then it's like, hey, let's go over to Duryodhana's house. You got any samosas? And I just remember everyone sitting at Prasadam, and it's like, hey, those guys that were kind of yelling at each other are just sitting there having Prasadam now. And afterwards, everyone said, yeah, he's an okay guy. And, it wasn't like earth-shatteringly successful, but we weren't trying for that. We were just trying to have a little more mutual understanding, and that could go a long way. At least I've seen that work so much. Interpersonal relationships, too. If you're married, this can be helpful, right? Is stop and talk it over. Yes, dear. That's the right answer. But seriously, if you take time to really talk, right? Because sometimes there's layers, and you don't know what's bugging you really, or bugging about the other person. But if you sit and talk, and then, after an hour, you just, oh yeah, this is what the real issue is. And it can be in the Brahmacharya ashram too, right? Humans. It's the human condition, and taking time to really work it out and just try to be straightforward and honest. And sometimes you can't, but at least then you tried, and then you know that, okay, we have serious differences of opinion, and then you can make appropriate measures to not get tangled up with that particular person and just say, okay, look, we talked about this, we did the best we could, and I'll be over here, and hopefully you'll be way over there. And my obeisances to you for staying over there. Okay, now we have a few reflections. And Nirkula's doing it, right? She's choosing and moderating. I'm choosing?
Thank you.
Okay, here. Okay, add that to the deck. Let me see. Pick, right? Okay. Narangi Devidasi. Now, or am I just supposed to give it to Nirkula? Okay. Narangi's going to read it.
No, I thought I was reading them tonight.
Oh, you're going to read them?
Yeah, I'm reading
Okay,
them.
you're reading them.
Okay, this is attitude of enlightenment versus attitude of service from the February 10th morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Entitlement, quote, me-centered attitude comes from material entanglement of soul. This attitude is unseemly for the soul. Correct attitude is that of service, which is difficult for soul to maintain in material world. There is constant fluctuation between I attitude due to constant disturbances caused by the external factors. However, two attitudes. Between two attitudes due to constant, she writes very nicely, especially for a doctor. It's me. I'll start again. There is constant fluctuation between two attitudes due to constant disturbances caused by the external factors. However, a pilgrimage like this gives one forward push for a momentum towards attitude of service. Thus, one can keep going in the attitude for a while. Narangi Devidasi. Rashmi. I observed that most of the Raj Rasis are very simple and happy. It emphasizes the fact that material opulence is not at all needed for happiness. Spiritual path is very much the path to follow. That's nice. It reminded me that probably a couple of decades ago, I think Time magazine or Newsweek magazine did a survey of the happiest people in the world, and number one was Bangladesh. I don't know if that would be now.
Do it now. I
it
don't
was
know.
then.
Yeah.
Thank you. Suryakund. Yatra has proved to me how being disconnected can really be helpful to immerse perfectly in Krishna consciousness. It encourages me to deliberately disconnect every day for some time and focus more on practicing bhakti. That's nice. It's true.
That's it? Oh, we get 3? Okay. Oh, okay, right.
What time is it? 6:20.
So this is just a repeat announcement that our dear Vijay Govinda Prabhu took mantra diksha from Guru Maharaj today. So after we finish today and during prasadam, you will see doing madhukari, which is he'll come to you, with his chadar spread and collecting donations from all of you. So please be generous to him. So the two more things I wanted to announce. One is that we're going to have a fundraiser for our books, as we always do for our during our yatras. And the second is, I know you all are excited to know about tomorrow, Feb 13. Okay, so don't groan at the time. 5:45 we start to board the buses, the same 3 buses that we boarded today. And they are going to take us all the way to the hotel called Anand Krishna 1. Those of you who came last year to the yatra know what it is. It's the same place where we stayed. Okay? There we have, from there we're going to take totos. Okay? So there are 30 totos. 4 people can sit in one toto and we'll go. There are 3 temples that we're going to visit. And because Vrindavan, the monkeys are ferocious, so it's highly advised that you take off your shoes and leave them in the toto. Otherwise, if you leave them outside the temple, the monkeys will run away with them. Be careful of your glasses, of your cameras. Don't expose anything. Try to keep your things tight and close to the body. They're very quick and they're very swift. Before even you know, your glasses are gone, right?
Even in the rickshaw. They'll jump in the rickshaw from the side. They'll grab your glasses before you know what's happening. Gone.
Right. So there'll be 3 temples we'll be visiting. From one to the other, we'll take totos. Again, come back to the same toto that you took because your shoes are there. Right? So you'll need that. Then once we complete, we'll have katha wherever possible. Once we complete the parikrama of these 3 temples, then we will come back to Anand Krishna 1. By the time we do that, it'll be already 12 noon, close to 12 noon. And there we have arranged lunch prasadam for you. So what about breakfast? We will be having packed breakfast here in the morning. We'll hand over your little bag. You can eat it on the way or you can eat it when you go there. You can honor that prasadam there. So for lunch, we arrange lunch there. Lunch will be from 12 noon to 2 p.m. And so in between that time, you can do whatever you want to do. You want to have lunch, use washroom, freshen up. You want to, see other places around Anand Krishna Van. You're more than happy to do that. Then I did do a poll, and then quite a few of the devotees want to stay back in Vrindavan. Only 11 said that they want to come back. So, so one bus is going to come back. Okay, so at 2:30 p.m., one bus is going to come back and bring us back here. The other 2 buses are going to come back at 5:30 p.m. and bring us here. Okay, we'll have dinner prasadam served in a dinner hall. If you want to stay back longer at Vrindavan, then you can arrange your own, taxi and come back here, or toto and come back here. So we need coordinators for the morning prasadam distribution. I'm looking for 3 coordinators for the 3 buses. Anybody interested in helping with the prasadam? Malini Masiji, Charunamai Prabhu, and Akshobhya Tirtha Prabhu, you're there. And then we'll also need coordinators for the toto coordination. We have Raghav Acharya Prabhu, Haldarupa Prabhu, Surekun Prabhu, and our dear Divanam Prabhu, who organizes the youth yatra. His father, Janeshwar Prabhu, my godbrother, has kindly arranged. He was actually behind, working behind the scenes with us. He has arranged all the totos. He will also join us for the parikrama, and so he's also one of our coordinators there. And of course, Raj Prabhu, the devotee who helps us. I don't think he's here. He's out doing something, so he'll be there. Again, just
right
keep
there.
Where? Oh, Raj, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I thought you were out getting garlands or something. Okay, thank you. So those will be the coordinators, so just work with them. And again, a reminder that monkeys, it's a monkey menace, just be mindful of that. Remember to carry your prayer books. We will be using, we'll be singing songs there. So that is about tomorrow. Any questions on tomorrow's program or plan?
Time are we leaving?
We are boarding the bus at 5:45 in the morning. It takes us a little while to board everybody, so.
Just a humble request that we leave on time, because it's really special to be at Madan Mohan when the sun is coming up, and the sooner we can get there, the better it is. hometown side.
And the later we start, the more time it takes for us to reach there, because the rush starts building up and then it's narrow roads. Prindam?
I wanted to ask you about the totos. I'm assuming we won't have totos after 2:30, right? That's on us if we want to travel local, people, for the devotees to stay back.
Correct, yeah. Totos will be gone at 12 noon. Yeah, good point there. Any other questions? Three temples are. So we are going to go to Radha Madan Mohan, where Maharaj was saying that it's beautiful to watch it. The second we'll go to Imli Tal, then we'll go to Radha Damodar temple, and then we'll come back. Three there. Any other questions? Now I heard that there is a birthday today. It's just that I didn't catch the name. Can somebody repeat? Whose birthday? Harai Pran. No. I remember you were telling me. Damodar Leela Mataji. It was yesterday? Oh, we missed it. Anything, Maharaj, you want to add for tomorrow's yatra? Before
Pardon
I go?
me?
Anything you want to add? Anything you want to add for tomorrow?
Just that we're not going to Krishna Balaram, so I recommend that you get there for darshan and spend some time in front of the deities, if you can. It's also Prabhupada's room to go there and be on the campus. And I'll just emphasize for the third time, if you wear your glasses, they're going to be stolen. And you won't get them back. It's very rare. So be really careful. Just take them off and don't use them when you're walking around, because when you're least expecting it, they'll be stolen.
Last year, I think, Trisha Prabhu, your glasses were taken away twice.
So if there's anyone who really has trouble seeing without their glasses, please buddy up with someone who can, stay right next to you and help you get up downstairs and navigate. It's really important to be a nice service.
You'll appreciate when you get back here that the monkeys haven't learned the trick yet.
So then we'll go to the next stage, which is the fun part, the fundraiser for the book distribution that we did.
$250.
Awesome. It's 250. I need some scribes. I need at least 3 people to write down. Malini Mataji going to write down 1. Akshok Teja Prabhu, you're writing. Aradhana, you're going to write? Okay, yeah.
This goes, by the way, we're distributing books like water everywhere. And actually, we're collecting quite a few rupees, but this gives us the wherewithal to increase the stock and give everyone the freedom, just let the books go as much as possible. What to speak of all the transportation, shipping costs, and all that kind of thing, it all goes into this yatra's book distribution capabilities.
$200, Karunya Shakti Mataji. Who do we give the money to? Bhagavad Seva Prabhu is our Kubera.
Do you take phone pay?
He will take everything.
Oh, right.
Karunya Shakti Mataji, $200. Okay, there's some family consultation going on. I see a hand here. Nagar Chand Prabhu, $250. Nagar Chand Prabhu. Shobha Radhe Mataji, $101. Shobha Radhe Mataji, $101. Rekha Mataji, $150. Rekha Mataji. Prem Kushori, $108. Manasi Mataji. Raghav Acharya Prabhu is saying, okay, how much? $250, Raghavacharya Manasi and the family. Raghavacharya and Manasi and the family, $250. Hare Krishna, tell us. 3,000 rupees by Vakur Nayak and family. We'll take all currencies. Keshav. 5,000 rupees, Prem Dham and family. Sorry, 5,000 rupees by Prem Dham and family. 5,000 Indian rupees.
Haladar just got his hand.
Haldarupa. $500. Haldarupa. Haldarupa Prabhu, $500. Anybody wants to top that? You know what happens at an auction? You say it and then it is considered.
She didn't say 501 what? Okay.
Go ahead, Sri Kumar Prabhu. $501, Sri Kumar Prabhu. Anybody wants to top that? I'm just kidding. Give whatever comes from your heart. $200, Mekhala Devidasi. Mekhala Devidasi, $200. Okay, Suryakant Prabhu, $108. Suryakund Prabhu, $108. Is there a hand? Oh, Trisha Prabhu. $540. Write it down. 108 into 5, $540. That's topping the 501. Trisha Chadda Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Rashmi has her hand up.
Rashmi Mataji and Abhijit, $151. Rashmi Mataji and Abhijit Prabhu, $151. Prem Dham Rupini Mataji. Dham Rupini Mataji. Go ahead. 108 US dollars? Okay. 108 US dollars. Dham Rupini Mataji. Oh, go ahead, Prabhu. Yeah. 3,000 rupees. 15,000? Did I hear that? 15,000 rupees. Look. Okay, 15,000. Anybody wants to go? $15,000. All right, Premai Radha Mataji. $50? $250 by Premai Radha Mataji.
These all have to be distributed tomorrow too.
Raman Riti is great for book distribution. I think they are planning. At this time, as I speak, Chuku's Venum is already out there buying more books.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time, and the opportunity on Narottam Das Thakur's Disappearance Day to give a donation. What? Appearance Day.
Appearance Day.
It's even more powerful. Oh.
Okay. Nitai Kirtan Bihari Prabhu's hand. $250?
Haribo!
$251 by Nitai Kirtan Bihari Prabhu and family. Mantrini Mataji. 200 pounds.
Haribo!
200 British pounds by Mantrini Mataji and family. Vicky Mataji. $108 by Vicky Mataji.
Damodar Bandhu Prabhu and Hladini Prema Mataji, $108.
Haribo!
Thank you.
Give the number so they can call in, people watching.
All right, Priyanka Sharma Mataji. $250, Priyanka Sharma Mataji. Prem Kishori comes again. 5,001 rupees.
Haribo!
Okay. If you want, you can come again. If you want to do a second round, we can do it. Like Prem Kishori is already on the second wave. She's going to donate in every currency, I think. Okay. Mataji, yeah? Neela Mataji, who is actually our Nagarchan Prabhu's mom. How much did you say? 5,000 rupees by Neelam Sharma Mataji. Neelam Sharma Mataji, yeah, 5,000 Indian rupees. Sandhini Shakti Mataji. $101. Sandhini Shakti and Charu Namai. Sandhini Shakti and Charu Namai, $101. Are you running? Are you doing a running total? If not, maybe, yeah. It will be good to have the total at the end.
And we're running out of time too.
$200.
Haribo! May give one last chance.
Prabhu, can you repeat your full name? Madhav Gauranga Das, yeah. Go ahead, Sundarachal Prabhu. $200 by Sundarachal Prabhu. Sriji Priya. $100, Sriji Priya and family. Sriji Priya. Sundarachal Priya. So Sundarachal Prabhu, it was 200 from you? $200, yeah. Sundarachal Prabhu was $200.
Haribo! Okay, almost done. Almost out of time, we have to count down.
Okay.
And once the
Where's
countdown
Radha
hits
Prabhu?
0, it's over. Okay.
Can you check on Facebook? Achila Gupta Mataji. 6,000. 6,000 Indian rupees by Achila Gupta Mataji.
Krishna 10, Krishna 9, Krishna 8, Krishna 7, Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4, Krishna 3, Krishna 2, Krishna.
There we have Bhagavad Seva Prabhu. $1,008. Hari Bol! Hari Hari Bol!
Krishna 10, Krishna 9, Krishna 8, Krishna 7, Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4, Krishna 3, Krishna 2, Krishna 1, Krishna point 5.
2,501. 2,501 rupees by Prem Kuchori Mataji again.
Krishna 10, Krishna 9, Krishna 8, Krishna 7, Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4.
Krishna. 5,000 rupees, Priyanka Sharma.
Krishna 10, Krishna
Priyanka
9.
Sharma, 5,000 rupees. Is it rupees or dollars? I have to check. Okay, she did US first and now she's doing Indian rupees.
Krishna 7, Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4, Krishna 3, Krishna 2. Oh, you're clapping. Krishna 1. Krishna
Vasu, Vasu Pradha Mataji, 10,001 rupees.
Krishna 10, Krishna 9, Krishna 8, Krishna 7, Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4, Krishna 3, Krishna 2, Krishna 1, Krishna point 5, Krishna point 125,
Chirag Kumar Prajapati Prabhu, 2,500 rupees.
Okay, this is really the last one. No kidding around. Krishna 10, Krishna 9, Krishna 8, Krishna 7, Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4, Krishna 3, Krishna 2, Krishna 1, Krishna point 5.
Haribol! Akshobhya Tirtha Prabhu, tell us. $250.
Krishna 10, Krishna 9. This is it. Krishna 7, Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4, Krishna 3, Krishna 2, Krishna 1. No fractions. No fractions.
I just wanted to mention about Bhagavad Seva Prabhu. He's going to leave us tomorrow on the way back home. And I want to take this moment to specially acknowledge him. He has been working with tirelessly behind the scenes. You know, even he's one of the organizers, and he's also our treasurer. And so often, you know, he had to miss the classes, although he loves being in your classes, Maharaj, because he was out getting chairs or water or, you know, doing all kinds of things. And whenever there's something tough and some tough dealing has to be done, I just, you know, shove it his way. He goes there and gallantly does that. So we have been hand in hand in this. And so let's give a big round of applause.
Bhagavad Seva's been coming to the yatras for many years.
More than a decade
Because
now.
I remember, was it the first time when your spiritual master came? That's when you came the first time. And then he just kept doing it, even though his spiritual master couldn't come to all of them, my dear friend Satyadev Prabhu. And then we told Satyadev before we came here, we said we needed a gift. Give us some tadiya to bring to Bhagavad Seva Prabhu, because he's been coming every year and he's coming this year to help the yatra. And he does all different kinds of services. And Satyadev Prabhu wrote back and he said, bless his heart. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Bhagavad Seva. You made all the difference in the world being here with just pure service intent and doing all the needful services on all sides. It made a huge difference. We're really going to miss you. I don't know how we'll get through the last day, frankly. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And since Bhagavad Seva Prabhu and I, we work hand in hand in everything regarding this yatra, so I'll also donate $1,008. Now,
Purna Shakti. What? Yeah, that's why he's leaving tomorrow. Api Chetsu Jaracharo, you know.
So we are ready. Take your time adding it up. If you're ready with the totals, tell us. Here. One more? Okay, we'll take it.
We haven't gone to zero yet, which is coming.
Okay. And this is from Chaitanya. How much is it? From whom? Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so sweet. 3,000 Indian rupees from Chaitanya's piggy bank. And she gives stuff from her piggy bank every year. Bless your heart.
Krishna.
Anybody wants to empty their piggy banks? She's still adding it up. Oh, Priya Kishori is at it again. Okay, tell us. From Prem Kishori mom's piggy bank, 10,001 rupees.
Wow.
That's a big pig.
Keshav has his hand up.
$9,000 rupees from Keshav's piggy bank.
1,000 rupees from my piggy bank.
1,000 rupees from Vrinda's piggy bank.
Please welcome His Grace Burijan Prabhu, well known all over the world, and please.
Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. It sounded so enthusiastic that I couldn't resist coming. I see. This is like Govardhana is like a different universe, isn't it? It has a sweetness and a welcomingness. I hope you all feel at home. And Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I thought this was a play, and this is. It could have been better timing. Thank you very much. That was a culmination of the day. And may we?
Malini is asking, are we done? Any more piggy banks? Any second thoughts? Any second waves? Wow, Riyansh, tell us. 1,000 rupees from Riyansh's piggy bank. Calculator broke or what? You overheated.
$502 from Srivas Pandit Prabhu and Geetavali Das.
Hariva!
Okay, the total, we collected $7,754 US.
Hariva!
And for Indian rupees, we collected 75,003 Indian rupees.
Hariva!
And we have 200 British pounds.
Hariva! We should add it to the awards this year for Yatras distributing the most books, since I think that we'll be the only one in the category. Okay.
Mali Mataji, there are some prayer books left. We had ordered extra. That will bring us some more. That's all for tonight, Maharaj.
Krishna Zero, Hare Krishna. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and all the great acharyas, if you so desire, please instill in our hearts beautiful bhajans that open the windows to the spiritual world. May they always be vibrating in our hearts, on our lips, and may we sing them everywhere we go, and together go back home, back to Godhead on that vibration. Thank you for considering our request and for watching over us. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in whole or in part, please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Vanja kalpadurusha kripasanabhe vacha patitana